In February 1931, Joseph Stalin made a speech to the Central Committee of the Soviet Union. In it, he warned,
Russia must overtake the advanced capitalist countries in just 10 years. Or, I swear to you, those capitalist countries will destroy us.
10 years later, in 1941, Nazi Germany invaded Russia. In a lightning strike, the German army swept east with a speed that made Soviet collapse seem certain. But then, with German tanks just 10 miles from Moscow, the Red Army began slowly to push back. Soviet propaganda hailed this advance as painful but heroic. But also they stressed how this advance would not have been possible were it not for another advance. Just as painful, just as heroic. The creation over 10 years of Soviet industrial strength. In just 10 years, a backward peasant society had been transformed under Stalin's orders, modernized, industrialized, to face the capitalist threat. As an American observer recalled, what had been won seemed nothing less than a battle of iron and steel. For the Bolsheviks, a workers' party, industry was the way forward. Industry managed by the workers' state, built by the workers, for the workers. For Stalin, industrialization was part of the international class struggle.
Let us advance full steam ahead to become a country of metal. And when we've put the USSR on a motor car and a peasant on a tractor, then let these much-admired capitalists try to overtake us. We'll see then which countries may be called backwards and which advanced.
In 1928, Stalin announced the first 5-year plan. Production targets way in advance of anything produced at that time were announced for every industry, with a concentration on iron, steel, coal, and oil. At Magnitogorsk, work began on an iron and steel complex to rival any in the capitalist world. Barren land would give way to vast blast furnaces and smelting plants. It was to be a symbol of what socialist planning could achieve. And so, at least for some, the hard work of Magnitogorsk was balanced with a real sense of purpose. Still, it was chaotic. The 5-year plan set ludicrous, unrealistic targets. But under that pressure, despite the temptation to fudge the figures, real advances were made. In 1935, the blast furnaces were ready. Magnitogorsk moved from construction to production. By 1936, every day the furnaces and mills produced 15,000 tons of iron ore, 4,000 tons of pig iron, 2,500 tons of rolled steel. Meanwhile, the dirty buildings